Good morning, SMUUCh. My name is Colette, and I am glad to be here with you this morning. Hold on just a moment. Did it get mixed up a little? Thank you so much, sorry. All right. Buenos dias. Bienvenido a la Iglesia Unitaria de Universalista de la Misión Shawnee. Close enough. Quien quiere que seas, quien quiere que amas, donde quiera que estés en el viaje de su vida, eres bienvenido aquí. Good morning and welcome, whomever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your life's journey, you are welcome here. We are so happy that you have chosen this sanctuary in time and that you're here is something to celebrate. We extend an especially warm welcome to our visitors, and we'll be waiting to chat with you at the welcome desk after the service. Remember, we're all newcomers once, and if you're joining us online, please say hi in the chat. Now please everyone rise and greet one another, elbows, whatever way you see fit. Welcome back, and now we have a few announcements from Rev Rose.
Good morning. I have one riveting announcement about church communication. Once a week, usually on Friday, we send out an all-church email. This email contains information about upcoming events and activities, volunteer opportunities, and contact information for our church staff. In addition, you will find useful links to request a church-wide announcement, reserve a room, request pastoral care, make a pledge payment, get help with Realm, or see past sermons on YouTube. This is an important email, so if you are not receiving it, please stop by the welcome desk on your way out after the service and let us know how we can get you more in the loop. And now some announcements from Jen Lacey.
Good morning. Our Just the Basics session for newcomers, which is usually held on the second Sunday of the month, will be held next Sunday. This will allow everyone to participate in the AIR training session today. So that is the rapid response training. It'll happen in here at noon, and there is childcare provided in Miss Celeste's room if you need that. And now one last announcement from Joy about the winter formal dance.
Have a very sad announcement today. Hello, everyone. Today, Reverend Rose wanted me to make an announcement that the winter dance the youth group was planning is canceled. No. You did this. Me? Yes. You see, when she heard the announcement last week, Reverend Rose gave us a real verbal licking. She said, "Shut it down." She said, ain't no dance is ever going to happen in this church. Not now, not ever. She said rock and roll music is evil and causes nothing but hooliganism. We pleaded with her, but her mind was closed. She asked if this was something we wanted to disband the youth group over. Well, I'm sorry, Reverend Rose, but I will make no such announcement today. Not this day and no day since. Oh, wait. We need to dance. We need to cut loose. Foot loose, if you will. What the heck?
Use the mic, Joy.
I am. There we go. What she failed to recognize is that her fire and brimstone sermons can only go so far to help us heal. You see, this church needs to dance. We need it like food and water. In this moment of uncertainty and worry, we need to make time to weep and mourn, but we also need time to celebrate. We need to celebrate community and togetherness. We need to celebrate ourselves authentically, without fear of judgment. Yes. We have more to say. We need to dance. Come on, guys, say it with me. Let us dance. Let us dance. Let us dance. Let us dance. Okay. Shh. So what do you say, Reverend Rose? Will you continue to deprive these good people of the dance they so need and deserve? Or will you stand with us and see the end of your so ungroovy ways?
Just moments ago, I thought we shouldn't dance. But now that I've seen your tie-dye furry leg warmers, I realize that I was wrong and that we need to dance on March 7th, right?
Yes.
On March 7th. Who's with me? Who will be here to dance? Woo!
I think I got rainbow leg warmer fur in my mouth.
Well, it feels a little wrong to do the ringing bowl right now. So I'll just say, come, let us worship. Please join as you are willing and able for our opening hymn. We sing now together number 67.
We sing now together our song of thanksgiving, rejoicing in goods which the ages have wrought, for life that enfolds us and helps and heals and holds us and leads beyond the goals which our forebears once sought. We sing of the prophets, the teachers, the dreamers, designers, creators, and workers and seers, our own lives expanding, our gratitude commanding. Their deeds have made immortal their days and their years. We sing of community now in the making, in every far continent, region, and land, with those of all races, all times, and names and places, we pledge ourselves in covenant firmly to stand.
As Sam Monthi, SMUUCh Troop 67 and 6067, as well as members from 357, please come forward to light the chalice. Let us affirm that love is the doctrine of this church, the quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer, to dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with one another.
At this time, I'd like to invite all the children and youth forward for Time for All Ages. Hello. Welcome. All right. Where did all our younger kids go? Maybe they're already in their class. Oh. They had to dance, yeah. All right. I would like to start by asking you all, do you have a favorite song, a song that you love to sing over and over again? Joy.
Ready as I'll ever be from Tangled.
Ready as I'll Ever Be from Tangled. All right. Yeah, Roger. Socks. I don't know that song. I'll have to listen to that one. Yeah. I've been working on the railroad. Classic. Dancing Queen, also a good one. Anyone else?
I have a lot of songs that I like.
You have a lot of songs you like?
But you're asking me to pick a favorite.
Yep. Do you have? No. You do not have a favorite.
Too many. Give us your 3 favorite songs. Give us a tier list.
Well, I was thinking about some of the favorite songs that I liked to sing when I was a kid. And when I was younger, about Roger's age, I would ride in my mom's minivan. She wouldn't let me pick the radio station. And we always listened to Oldies 105.1, which played music from the 1950s and 60s. And there was this song, Summer in the City. It's fun and an upbeat song. A few years ago, I was listening to that song again, and I heard it differently. When I was a child, I thought the singer was singing Hot Dog, Summer in the City, when he was actually saying Hot Town, Summer in the City. And as I listened more closely, I learned that the song is not about a hot dog or a hot dog in a hot summer city. But it's a song celebrating the hardest workers in New York City who work outside in the summer heat. And it was a reminder of them to celebrate in the evening when the temperatures cooled off a bit. And so today, I want to share a practice with you. We're going to read the lyrics of a very familiar song. We're going to read it 3 times, and each time we're going to listen a little differently. This is called Lectio Divina, which is a name for a spiritual practice that people do to help them find a deeper meaning in a song or a poem. So we're going to try it. I'm going to read the lyrics 3 times, and we're going to read the lyrics of Go Now in Peace. The first time I read it, I want you to think about a word that stands out to you, okay? All right, here we go. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the Spirit of love surround you. Everywhere, everywhere you may go. All right, was there a word that stood out to you as I read that? Yes. Peace. All right. Is there a reason it stood out to you? No? All right. Yeah. Everywhere. Okay. Yes. The spirits of love. All right. All right. This time when I read it, I want you to think about an image. So as you're listening to the words, are there any images that come to mind? Go now in peace. Go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Ellie?
See, I didn't realize I was being haunted.
Oh, yeah? So it's kind of a haunting song now? You're thinking of a spirit?
Yep, spirits following me everywhere.
Okay.
Surrounding you even. It makes me think of like the kids room, like when I was really little, and then we would leave to the song, and it reminds me of the room that's like all the way down that hall.
Okay, you remember some past memories of being a much younger child. All right, I like that. A prairie? Can you say more about that? All right, cool. And are you like in the prairie? Okay, cool. I love that image. Any other images you thought of? You thought of a forest, Roger? Cool. All right, I'm going to read it one more time. And this time, I want you to think about how the song might relate to your life. All right, here we go. Go now in peace. Go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. How may that relate to your life? Moving? Okay, so like, because you recently moved, is that what you were thinking of? Okay. Any other thoughts of how it might relate to your life? Oh, Charmander wants to say something? All right. Can you play the song for us and let's sing it as we leave?
Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
Today in our service, we are going to be doing a process of Lectio Divina. Because the changes in our country are coming at us fast and quickly, and we feel an urgency to protect our processes and our people and our earth, today we will be doing something a little bit slower, something that takes time. Lectio Divina is an ancient spiritual practice used by monks and nuns in the Christian tradition, meant to move people away from studying texts and instead to see the words as being alive in the mouth and in the heart. We do this by listening to the same poem 3 times, each time listening for something different throughout the service. What I love about this practice is that it's very revealing. It implies that there is a meaning hidden within a text that is not immediately understood, that it takes time. I do this practice when I choose a reading for worship. My practice is that I read it aloud. It can't be read in your head. You read it aloud first thing in the morning. I don't read it from my phone. If I'm doing really good, I'll write it by hand. But you print it off and read it aloud every morning, maybe before you get out of bed, and a word will just wiggle into my brain, and it's like the poem sort of disassembles and floats around in there, and its deeper meaning comes to me. The poem we will hear today is by Andrea Gibson, the Poet Laureate of Colorado. Andrea is a queer activist and spoken word artist whose poetry spans topics from depression and anxiety to social justice. And in her recent book of poetry entitled You Better Be Lightning, they say that their hope is for their work to, quote unquote, be a megaphone in spaces of dangerous silence and a permission slip to feel it all. But what is most striking to me about Andrea's story is that they received a terminal cancer diagnosis and were given 2 years to live. They went through 2 grueling rounds of chemo and major surgery only to have the cancer return in 2023. Throughout this process, they have continued to write and perform with their illness and their treatment and impending death. Now, at the beginning of each reading, I will instruct you what to listen for, like Jen did with the kids. This poem is called How the Worst Day of My Life Became the Best. And it's prefaced with a quote from Eckhart Tolle, which goes, "When you are trapped in a nightmare, your motivation to awaken will be so much greater than that of someone caught up in a relatively pleasant dream." And now as I read this poem, I want you to simply let it wash over you. Andrea said, "When I realized the storm was inevitable, I made it my medicine. Took 2 snowflakes on the tongue in the morning, 2 snowflakes on the tongue by noon. There were no side effects, only sound effects. Reverb added to my lifespan, an echo that asked, what part of your life's record is skipping? What wound is on repeat? Have you done everything you can to break out of that groove? By nighttime, I was intimate with the difference between tying my laces and tuning the string section of my shoes. Made a symphony of walking away from everything that did not want my life to sing. Felt a love for myself so consistent, metronomes tried to copy my heartbeat. I finally understood that I am the conductor of my own life and will be even after I die. I, like the trees, will decide what I become. Porch swing, church pew, an envelope that must be licked to be closed. Kinky choice, but I didn't close. I opened and opened until I could imagine that the pain was the sensation of my spirit not breaking. That my mind was a parachute that could always open in time, that I could wear my heart on my sleeve and never grow out of that shirt. That every falling leaf is a tiny kite with a string too small to see, held by the part of me in charge of making beauty out of grief. We come to this place to see and be seen, to teach and be taught, and to hear and be heard. I invite you to reach over and nudge the person sitting next to you, reminding them and yourselves that we are gathered here in peace and in authenticity and intention. We also come to this place to share our joys and sorrows. If you have a rare joy or a profound sorrow to share, please come forward and briefly share in 2 to 3 sentences and light a candle.
Embrace your life in all of its heaviness, in all of its brilliance, and we carry your joys and sorrows in a shared heart.
I will now read the poem a second time, and this time I want you to notice one word that stands out to you. How the worst day of my life became the best. To begin with a quote from Eckhart Tolle. When you are trapped in a nightmare, your motivation to awaken will be so much greater than that of someone caught up in a relatively pleasant dream. When I realized the storm was inevitable, I made it my medicine. Took 2 snowflakes on the tongue in the morning, 2 snowflakes on the tongue by noon. There were no side effects, only sound effects. Reverb added to my lifespan, an echo that asked, what part of your life's record is skipping? What wound is on repeat? Have you done everything you can to break out of that groove? By nighttime, I was intimate with the difference between tying my laces and tuning the string section of my shoes, made a symphony of walking away from everything that did not want my life to sing. Felt a love for myself so consistent, metronomes tried to copy my heartbeat. Finally understood I am the conductor of my own life and will be even after I die, that I, like the trees, will decide what I become. Porch swing, church pew, an envelope that must be licked to be closed. Kinky choice, but I didn't close. I opened and opened until I could imagine that the pain was the sensation of my spirit not breaking. That my mind was a parachute that could always open in time, that I could wear my heart on my sleeve and never grow out of that shirt, that every falling leaf is a tiny kite with a string too small to see, held by the part of me in charge of making beauty out of grief. And now the word that stood out to you, I invite you to take the finger on your writing hand and just write it on the palm of your other hand.
I interpreted the theme of Andrea's poem as loving life through difficulties and showing resilience. During my career, I got to know hundreds of older adults who taught me lessons in resilience, either by their example or their friendly advice. Andrea's line, I opened and opened until I could imagine that the pain was the sensation of my spirit not breaking, to me embodies the strength of spirit I witnessed while working at senior living communities, including Lakeview Village, where many members of SMUUCh reside nearby. I remember my older friend whose back was severely broken as a teenager, but who went on to run her family's factory, or the military families who moved dozens of times in service to their country. Others sadly lost children. But many of my older friends did not let physical limitations or losses define them. Instead, they showed discipline, humor, and humility in the face of life's challenges. My older friends, my mentors, lived well and persevered because they granted grace to themselves and to others along the way. Recently, I met 5 older women who dreamed of a large-scale mural in the Kansas state capitol that would illustrate Kansas women's long fight for the right to vote. These determined women, all members of the League of Women Voters, told me they talked about little else besides the Kansas Suffragist Memorial Mural for 3 years. And on January 29th, 2025, before a packed crowd in the rotunda, Governor Laura Kelly dedicated the sweeping mural to the kick-ass women of Kansas. Yes, the governor said that. Then artist Phyllis Peace Garibay-Kuhn, whose grandparents immigrated to the United States from Mexico and who painted the mural in only 9 months, spoke and showed us what a kick-ass woman she is. The story of how Kansas women got the right to vote in 1911, 9 years before nationwide women's suffrage, is an inspiring story of hope in the face of adversity, as is the story of the women who made that mural possible 114 years later. I asked the soft-spoken Seeley, one of the 5 members from the mural committee, shown here, with the artist, Phyllis, in the center, if she felt proud of the group's accomplishment. She replied humbly, "I find the mural very moving. Some people today want to give up because things are tough politically, but I ask them, what if those 13 women had given up?" We big-hearted UUs will also persevere, just as the Kansas suffragists did over several generations, starting before the Civil War in 1911, and until 1911, more than 55 years. So please remember that fact when you begin to feel discouraged. So join me now in your best kick-ass voice in singing 2 verses of the suffrage song that was created for the mural dedication. And this will be to the tune of Battle Hymn of the Republic, whose words are on the screen behind me. We're here, the mud is heard across the sea, that equal rights in law and love is meant for you and me, where every law was founded on the plane of liberty, as truth comes marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah, as truth comes marching on. Our hearts have felt the glory of the coming of the time, when law and right and love and might make our land sublime. When mount and hill and rock and rill with freedom's light will shine, as truth comes marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah, as truth comes marching on.
May it be so that truth comes marching on. Please join me in a moment of meditation, reflection, and prayer regarding your feelings about our humanity, our community, our friends, our neighbors, as we sing my personal favorite hymn, number 396.
I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open.
This last time I read the poem, I want you to listen for a word or a phrase that is saying something to your life. When you are trapped in a nightmare, your motivation to awaken will be so much greater than that of someone caught up in a relatively pleasant dream. When I realized the storm was inevitable, I made it my medicine. Took 2 snowflakes on the tongue in the morning, 2 snowflakes on the tongue by noon. There were no side effects, only sound effects, reverb added to my lifespan. An echo that asked, what part of your life's record is skipping? What wound is on repeat? Have you done everything you can to break out of that groove? By nighttime, I was intimate with the difference between tying my laces and tuning the string section of my shoes, made a symphony of walking away from everything that did not want my life to sing. Felt a love for myself so consistent, metronomes tried to copyright my heartbeat. Finally understood I am the conductor of my own life and will be even after I die. I, like the trees, will decide what I become. Porch swing, church pew, an envelope that must be licked to be closed. Kinky choice, but I didn't close. I opened and opened until I could imagine that the pain was the sensation of my spirit not breaking, that my mind was a parachute that could open in time, that I could wear my heart on my sleeve and never grow out of that shirt, that every falling leaf is a tiny kite with a string too small to see, held by the part of me in charge of making beauty out of grief. So often in our lives, we want what is wrong to go away. But maybe rushing isn't what we need to do right now. Maybe when we rush the bad feelings and the difficult realities away, we end up missing out on the lessons in humanity that these difficult times teach us. Indeed, when Andrea Gibson was given their terminal cancer diagnosis, there must have been a period when they wanted the terrible reality to go away. Perhaps that day was the worst day of their life. Perhaps that moment, those first few months, were the nightmare that they speak of. Perhaps this storm is what allowed them the internal space to make that beauty out of their grief, to, as they say, make the worst day turn into their best day. I chose this poem specifically for this Sunday because we too are living in a storm, a media storm, a cultural nightmare, a moment of great uncertainty, deception, loss of processes as we watch the unraveling of self-serving incompetence. How very aware we all are of the storm. And I know just how much motivation we all have to end the nightmare. So what if, as part of our involvement, part of our engagement right now, as part of our ability to stay present and connected during difficult time, what if this were a moment to go deeper into our spiritual practices, our slowing down, not to slow down justice or to disengage, but rather to engage in a different way, to engage in a more grounded way, in a more connected and beautiful way. Because we have a lot of motivation right now to end this madness, but this madness has been here. This madness did not just start. In this space, we need to have the time to ask ourselves what wound is on repeat, what note in our national anthem is skipping. How do we not do what we have done before as the dutiful, good, hardworking, determined, capable people that we are? How do we do something instead? Do everything we can to break out of our grooves and break us into a new phase in our society. We have to begin as we wish to continue. And thus, we do things with our spiritual practices that feel paradoxical in times of difficulty. We have defiant joy, which Reverend Peter told us last week, which seems odd in a time of darkness. We believe that when people are buried, that there too are seeds planted that will bloom later, as Naya-Lisa told us, even though being buried or watching people be buried does not seem like a time for flowers. The storm ahead of us is inevitable, and so we have no choice but to use it as our medicine. To not just tie our laces, but rather tune the string section of our shoes, making a symphony of walking away from everything that does not want life to sing. To not just call our senators, but tell them what is calling to you within. To not just demand a change, but make those changes in ourselves that are hard to make, harder to make than asking someone else to make a change towards beauty, towards wellness, towards health, and towards healing. Indeed, this awakeness that Andrea Gibson references in their poem could only come from that painful awakeness that they feel for the absolute preciousness of their life. And in the same vein, I encourage us that we must inhabit this uncomfortable space in a different way. When I hear the poem, what I hear in it is that we get to choose what we are. We get to choose what we become, like the trees choosing to be a pew or a porch swing or the propeller of an old-timey plane. What I hear is that the pain we feel right now is the sensation of our spirits not breaking. And that is a pain that people have felt all over this world since the beginning of time, and it's our time to feel our spirits grow bigger now than we ever wanted to know they could get. It's our time now to make this ugly space our medicine. Take 2 snowflakes on the tongue in the morning and 2 by noon, and ride out the reverb that is resounding through us with each new day's newsreel, and instead of rushing and just wanting it to end, let these painful days too be too precious to rush. To not just show up at the meeting, but bring flowers. To not just volunteer at the shelter, but make someone a card. To not just sit at the front desk of the pantry, but learn a few Spanish phrases to greet people who need to feel welcome and safe. Because this is how we resist. We resist first in our hearts. First, we are well and grounded, because it would be very convenient if we were a mess. We resist in every way, in all ways. Every piece of beauty, every piece of resistance, of art, of action that you take is a step in the right direction. It's what's in your heart, and it's the love you feel and how you grow from within that is your resistance. Your resistance is in showing up when you're called. It's in being prepared personally so that when you're called, you can show up. We resist by doing what is paradoxical to the culture. And now, in this moment, what we must do is withstand the pain of these moments by staying present, grounded, and connected, making these days our medicine because they truly, truly are too precious to rush.
The work of the church depends on us, our generosity of time, wisdom, and financial resources. We invite you to give generously to support the ongoing work of the church. The offering will now be given and received in grateful appreciation of our shared values. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And now, please rise as you are willing and able for our closing hymn, number 311, Let It Be a Dance.
Dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Let a dancing song be heard. Play the music, say the words, and fill the sky with sailing birds. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Learn to follow, learn to lead. Feel the rhythm, feel the need. To reap the harvest, plant the seed. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you. Through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Everybody turn and spin. Let your body learn to bend. And like a willow with the wind. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. A child is born, the old must die. A time for joy, a time to cry. Take it as it passes by. dance we do. May I have this dance with you, through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Morning star comes out at night. Without the dark there is no light. If nothing's wrong, then nothing's right. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let the sunshine, let it rain. Share the laughter, bear the pain. And run we go again. Let it be a dance.
I'm going to need to see better grooving at the dance. Can't just be me out there on the dance floor. This week, I invite you to find a text, an old text, something that you find in the back of the hymnal, which is a gold mine, something that you read every morning before you turn your phone on and before your feet hit the ground. Your only job is to read it aloud to yourself. Go in peace.
Check, check. 1, 2, 3.